Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Costanza, a podcast about something. I am your host, Joe Costanza, not to be confused with Marissa Tomei's type, George Costanza from Seinfeld. She likes bald guys, apparently, in the show. I don't know if that's actually her type. But this is episode 16. I know you probably are confused because, Jay and Jake, because you thought I would get 16, but I have changed my mind. This is going to be it. So, I'm pushing the other two back. The other two that we did. So, yeah. And Jay Gooden. So go ahead and just say whatever the fuck is on your mind.
Oh shoot, man! I can't wait, dude. Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go. And Jake,
Let's
Fucking go.
Yeah, that's all I got to say. And that should be enough for you guys to be entertained for what we got to go talk about for the next hour.
yep.
You guys
Jake,
stay tuned for that.
Jake, are you dead?
No, I'm trying. I'm looking forward to talking about this.
Okay. Like I called your name like 5 times. I'm like, Jake, hello?
People were speaking over me, and also
Okay.
your mic shit. Also your mic shit. We need to
Alright.
fix that.
How about this? Is this better? It's literally
Yeah, that is a little bit
close to
better.
Okay. Well, I guess this will have to do. And we also have a returning guest, Zarko, who is, you might have seen him on the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe tier list that I did for episode 10. So he's back.
Hello.
All right.
Sorry, I keep it simple.
No, you're good. I was gonna ask to introduce yourself, but we already kind of did that. So, and plus we're on a time crunch, so I'm not gonna delay this any longer. We're gonna be talking finally, after all this time, Deadpool and Wolverine. Full spoilers ahead. We're not gonna go non-spoilers because it's been out for some time. So, what did you guys think about Deadpool and Wolverine?
Awesome.
Well,
I
Really
really
loved
loved
awesome.
it.
Maximum effort, all the way. Marvel Jesus, the savior of MCU, the savior of Disney. Fox,
Yeah,
eat your heart out.
Yeah.
Well, in
Speaking
all honesty, it's more or less a real love letter to that era of Fox movies and early
Yes.
2000s and all that. Really a testament of how far we've really come over the years.
Mhm.
I agree, and
Yeah.
I'm honestly happy they went that way instead of just like, hey, here's Deadpool, and now he's in the MCU. It's just like, nah, this is a farewell because Disney bought out Fox a couple of years ago, so we're just like, yeah, we'll just end it off with a bang and not fucking New Mutants. So,
And if you really look at it, like this film, in and of itself is kind of like a pocket almost. Like it doesn't really continue the main narrative of the MCU as of now. I mean, sure, there are hints to that, like you can find throughout it, but like it's mostly its own self-contained story, really.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
Well,
what makes it
yeah,
so much
yeah.
unique compared to other MCU projects in recent years. Like every project is just trying to connect itself, just tying all these knots together and just making them all tighter and whatnot. But here, it's its own little pocket.
Yeah, it's like its own thing.
and
It
the
did.
thing
It did
is,
feel like it did feel separate from like both MCU and Fox. Like I think the Deadpool movies were always kind of meant to be like that, but this one especially kind of felt like its own thing. It felt equally as much of a goodbye to Fox, but also like somewhat connected to the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Ryan Reynolds put it like this: like this is not only Deadpool saying, "Oh, hi MCU." This is basically a farewell to like 24, 25 years of like content from them because they've been doing this since I think Blade, maybe, or is it the first X-Men?
I think the first Blade's considering the cast of cameos that appear in this.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Totally. I guess since we're probably gonna go out of order, I guess we'll just go from like the opening scene to the end. What did you guys think of that fucking glorious opening scene?
I was cracking up when I first saw that.
Heck yeah! Oh yeah!
I love it. I love how I was using the bones to kill everyone instead of his own weapons.
Yeah.
So, fun fact, that was actually not Ryan Reynolds in the suit during that sequence. It was someone else. That was
I found that out too.
I did hear that. Yeah.
It was. Hold on, I can tell you exactly who it was.
I think it was like some
That
TikToker.
was Nick Pauli.
Oh, seriously?
Wow.
Who is that?
Oh, this is the first time I'm hearing this, so I didn't know
I'm
that.
not sure
Yeah,
who they are.
I don't know. People were giving Ryan Reynolds flack for that, but the dude's almost 50. Come on. And he can improv and just be actual Deadpool, but like, I mean, just because he can't dance, come on, he's still a good actor.
In the credits, I
Yeah,
remember this actually now. He was
you
credited as Dance Pool in the credits.
That's cool.
That's cool.
And on the topic of
Whirlpool.
credit mentions, I'm sure you guys are familiar with who Nice Pool is, right? You remember that variant of him.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
So
Of course.
in the credits, he was credited by Ryan Reynolds' alternate twin brother. That's actually just him. Like he used like a fake stage name for that version of him, which I found quite amusing.
What did he use? Like Brian Reynolds? or
He
something?
used. Let me look. He used Gordon Reynolds, which is Ryan Reynolds' fake twin brother, who was actually Ryan Reynolds in disguise.
That's actually really funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, that whole sequence is just fucking hilarious. Like I had a feel because I saw some leaks for the first 40 minutes, so I knew it was gonna happen. I just didn't know how glorious it would be. Just like that whole scene, it was like there are 206 bones in the human body, 207 if I'm watching Gossip Girl.
Let me say, my theater was a very lively theater. Like it wasn't like constant cheering and whatnot. I mean, like it was an audience that just laughed at pretty much almost every joke. Everyone felt like they had a good time. Like it wasn't
Yeah,
overdone. It was just
that
the
was my
right
theater
amount
as
of
well.
crowd
None
pleasing.
of them really cheered, which was surprising because they cheered in No Way Home. But they actually really enjoyed the movie, and I'm happy about that because Marvel's been on a fucking downhill since Endgame. So, and we'll also get to that later. But I think also fun fact: Gossip Girl stars Blake Lively, and as you know, that's Ryan Reynolds' wife. So I think
Mhm.
that's hilarious that he says he gets a boner watching Gossip Girl, which makes sense because not only is Blake Lively hot as fuck, but she's also his wife. So yeah.
Heck yeah. Let's go. Ryan Reynolds for a win.
And I love how it also is like, how are we going to do this without dishonoring Logan's death? We're not. I just love how it just got straight to the point. Like, nah, fuck Wolverine. I'm just gonna
Just
get rid
desecrate
of
his
his whole
corpse.
grave.
Desecrate the
his
corpse. I mean, to be honest, the reason why he did it was just to see if he's like, oh, his health regenerating factor is like his healing is like he can't die. Oh, he's dead. And he's just going on a freak out over it, and then TVA shows up and he's just like, I can't deal with it, just kills them all with the skeletal remains.
I gotta
It's
say,
just funny because
TVA...
he promises that he wouldn't use his weapon except for the very last person where he does
Yeah,
the bounce with his sword and kills him with that.
Yeah, and then he made a Will Smith joke. Keep my country's name out your fucking mouth.
Let's go. This was so good, honestly. Like
The jokes
this is
all
like,
landed.
dude, it was just, dude. It's like if Bill Cosby or like, okay, maybe not Bill Cosby.
No,
Okay.
God.
What?
Maybe not Bill Cosby. Okay, let me recount that. I was talking about his younger years as a comedian. Relax. All right. Okay. It's like if Dave Chappelle, you know what I'm saying, probably even Bill Murray, even like just came to town and just came into your movie theater, like into your auditorium, and was just talking and was setting up all those great line jokes, and or like keep you laughing for like 2 hours nonstop, like just an immediate burst of entertainment and laughter. That's really what it felt like. And like, dude, when I went to the movie theater, I was so surprised that everyone was. Not only did the seats fill up, so it was a sold out show because I went on opening night. Telling you, man, brother, if you went to the movie theater I was into when I watched this movie, I'm telling you, everyone was cracking up throughout the whole entire film. It was the best movie opening night that I've ever been to, ever in my life.
It's really good, yeah.
It was super, super good, super solid. You didn't want to miss a single thing ever.
Yeah, and um, I do like the TVA was actually kind of good, if I gotta be honest. Like I expected them to be like kind of, and they kind of were like the low part of the movie, but they were all kind of interesting, and they had like a good purpose to the story. Mr. Paradox, or whatever his name, he was kind of charming.
Hmm.
He was
He
certainly
was.
eccentric, I feel like is the proper word.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would say that.
eccentric.
I would say that.
That is true, and
I
I did
thought.
like
I
that.
thought. Yeah, I thought that he was actually gonna be like the main villain, but like no, it turns out that he's actually just really trying to do his job, like for real.
I kind of had a feeling like seeing the initial trailer, I kind of pieced together how things would play out from like what we got, but I really didn't know how it would like end, so to speak. Like I didn't know what the ultimate objective was. Like there were context clues, yes, but it wasn't enough to really determine this is how it's going to go down. So almost in a sense, Mr. Paradox is a red herring. Yes, he's a villain, but he's not the main villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was kind of like a secondary villain.
Yes.
So, but yeah, and I also liked that Happy Hogan cameo. That was surprising
yeah.
to see.
Oh yeah, I was surprised to see him. Like, Happy? Why is he in this movie?
At
So
first,
technically, go ahead.
go ahead. At first, I was like, "How did Deadpool get there?" But then I realized, oh, he must have used Cable's time machine.
Yes, if you actually notice in the scene, he actually still has the time machine strapped to his wrist over his suit.
Oh, okay. Well, that
Yeah,
makes
'cause
sense.
And that's crazy to think that Deadpool has canonically been in Earth 616, and coincidentally, right before Infinity War happens, mind you, because Infinity War canonically happens spring 2018. So this is just before that big moment happened in the overall narrative.
I could just imagine, like Tony was actually at like the, like that his introduction scene in Infinity War where he's talking to Pepper,
Mhm.
like, holy shit, we had a kid. I can just imagine it's that scene, but like the behind the scenes footage of that, like the Deadpool and Happy Hogan talk, and just Iron Man being in Central Park. I can just imagine in
Uh,
my head those are both
believe
happening at the same time.
believe it or not, actually, there was a cut scene or deleted scene. Happy Hogan actually was in Central Park with those two, actually driving around on a golf cart.
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
Yes.
And speaking of deleted scenes, Robert Downey Jr. was supposed to be in this film, but they cut him out because, I mean, as you know, he's Doctor Doom, so they felt like it would not make sense. And apparently, I think he might have been in an end credit scene because people were hyping the fuck up about that end credit scene. Like, some massive leakers were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe they kept this a secret." People were thinking, "Is it Toby? Is it Chris Evans? Downey?" Like, it was Downey. So.
But
Happy
there was
for him
also
that
I
was it.
also heard talk that apparently She-Hulk and Captain Marvel were supposed to appear in this, but their scenes were ultimately cut or
Oh,
something like
thank
that.
God.
Wow.
And apparently, I don't know how true this is, but I heard rumor that so She-Hulk obviously was supposed to be in there. Apparently, she was supposed to fight Wolverine and beat Wolverine, but
Oh my God. An awful. Was that supposed to replace that Hulk versus Wolverine scene?
I don't know. It could, but I'm not sure.
Which one was supposed to beat Wolverine, Captain Marvel or She-Hulk?
She-Hulk.
Oh, Hulk can
I don't know
barely
what
withstand them. What the hell is she gonna do?
I don't know. But also, speaking of
On,
Hulk and that such, that montage was really fun. Where he's just looking for all the
all the variants
Wolverines.
of Wolverine.
And then he finds like the comic accurate size one.
Yeah,
He's
the
he's
very
just,
first one he finds, like, oh, he's like, "Oh, we got a winner already." Nope, he's like, "Oh, hi. Oh, you're pretty short. All right, well, moving on."
you know what'd be funny? You know what'd be funny
Comic
if he
reference,
wore
okay.
the blue and yellow suit and was a canonical height, that Wolverine, it would have been the
Oh, that would have
true
been
comic
funny.
accurate Wolverine.
There was actually, I someone pointed out to me, there's actually a little bit of a continuity error, actually. So obviously now, after the whole montage with all the Wolverines, when Deadpool finally finds the Wolverine we stick with for the rest of the movie. And if you remember, he has his costume on underneath his like jacket and whatnot. And then Deadpool brings him to the TVA office. But in the scene before in the bar, he doesn't actually have his gloves on, and they just suddenly appear on him when he's dragged into the TVA.
I guess he put them in the jacket. And,
I was also gonna say like like narrative speaking, the simple solution would be that after like Deadpool took his jacket off, he found his gloves in like a pocket or something like that, and put them on him for something like that. So it works that explanation, but just without seeing or hearing that explanation, it's kind of a little off-putting. Just
yeah.
a minor
There's
detail.
so many continuity errors with just the X-Men movies alone. Just ignore simple stuff like that. It's just bound to
Honestly,
happen.
I was expecting this movie to fix the timeline for X-Men. It only made it fucking
Oh,
worse.
no.
It made it worse.
It did. It totally did.
Ever since he like time traveled at the end of Deadpool 2, he killed that past version of himself from Origins, and he killed Ryan Reynolds before he got the role as Green Lantern. The timeline was already fucked at that point.
Yeah.
What was it? A brief sidetrack in terms of continuity errors. A big one I've recently seen, or not really recently, but in Infinity War, it's a pretty big one. Well, not really big one, but you remember the scene where ultimately Thanos is about to get the Mind Stone, right? When he does the vision.
Yes.
So if you watch the scene closely, he's about to grab Vision. Wanda retaliates, and then Thanos slaps Wanda away. But in that scene, he's already got his hand around Vision. But then the next scene, he's immediately re-grabbing him again.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh
I'm like,
yeah,
wait,
that's
what?
true.
So it's a little bit of a continuity error. I don't really know how I could physically explain that. And then there's the big. This one actually could tie into Deadpool and Wolverine. In Endgame, there was a giant man in the battle, throwing a Leviathan into a portal, even though
Oh
Scott Lang
yeah.
was
I noticed
supposedly
that.
hotwiring.
Yeah.
And there was a theory saying that that giant man is actually the same giant man that's used as Cassandra Nova's base in the movie.
Oh yeah, because I do remember that scene. Someone pointed it out, and I can never unsee it. Like how he's in two places at once. I can just imagine. I can just imagine he says to Wasp, "Stay here for a second. I'm gonna throw that Leviathan in a portal." And
I
he's
mean,
like,
it makes
"Okay, I'm
sense. He
out."
could briefly, like, he started hotwiring, and then he got distracted for a second to deal with that Leviathan, and he immediately shrunk down. But we don't see that in the movie, of course. But
He's like, "Did you fix it yet?" Just abandons her to. He abandons her to do all the work while he just tries to lift this thing into a portal.
Work on my car, woman.
And goes back. Okay, is it done?
What do you mean it's not done? But
Only for the van.
anyways,
Only for the van to be destroyed anyway.
yeah, that's true. But yeah, the montage was fun. Like I really liked all the cameos, like all the different Wolverines. Like there's the brown and yellow suit, and he fought the Hulk. There's the Cavalrine, which I really loved that cameo.
Yeah, they had the old man Logan, I think.
which is funny because that's the only Wolverine variant that was not played by Hugh Jackman.
Yeah,
That's good, isn't she?
and I can't be the only one who noticed this, but for context, there's this scene in Mission Impossible Fallout where Henry Cavill's character does like a fist recharge, where he kind of I'll post.
Like he flicks his wrist almost, like he prepares like a punch. He does a flicks one, flicks the other, then like punches almost.
Yeah,
And he does that with his claws here as well, which is a very cool detail.
Yeah, the podcast I used to listen to called it like a cump, which is like a caval bump, and I just found that hilarious. Like, oh my god, they're gonna love this part, and like I didn't notice that with like a. I just love how he just recharge. Like, he's just like. I just like that reference. And I also like Deadpool's dialogue in here, like, we'll treat you better than those shit fucks down the street. I immediately caught on that was DC.
Yeah, that was definitely DC. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah. I think that whole entire scene was just fantastic. I mean, this and also like the scene where like they meet all the different like Deadpool variants and whatnot, just like coming through. I mean, that was pretty hilarious. Like, especially with like Deadpool Wolverine, like actually teaming up. That was a good ass team up. Like seriously, just like going ahead, slashing all the other Deadpools.
We'll get to that because that's
Yeah,
easily the best part.
yeah,
Um,
definitely. Yeah, I
but then
can't wait.
yeah, he finds the Wolverine we were hanging out with throughout the whole movie. He wears the comic accurate outfit finally, and I just love their chemistry together. Just Wolverine just being a dick and just like being very annoyed with him, and Deadpool's just being like that younger brother. No offense, Jake. That always just kind of annoys the big brother.
I mean, that now we've gotten to the point where they're in the void. They finally got sent to the void, which I figured would happen. Like as soon as we saw that he came back to the TVA with Wolverine, I'm like, okay, they're immediately going to go to the void. There's no way they don't leave to the void. And obviously, we get that epic fight where they just start just beating the absolute shit out of one another, just stabbing, shooting each other,
And
pretty
Wolverine
comedically as
was like,
well. And of course, none of them are dying because they're both basically immortal. So. And then a very special person comes in to break up the fight. Someone that I called, by the way. So
Wow.
I was not familiar with leaks at all. And so when Chris Evans suddenly appeared and his outfit was kind of hidden, I'm like, wait a minute. I know exactly who this is. Of course, Deadpool's talking about, oh, it's Captain America. It's Captain America. No. I was saying this aloud too. I'm like, oh no, that's not Captain America.
Yep.
And then he says, Avengers is like, flame on. I'm like, yeah. And then Human Torch, I was
so fucking
absolutely
happy.
I was happy.
ecstatic. I was like, holy, I was so happy. And then Pyro stole his powers, and then Human Torch fell to the ground, hit his nuts, and fell unconscious.
yeah, I remember.
I was still funny,
I mean,
though.
He had-
And I wanted to bring up, I loved during that fight between Deadpool and Wolverine that Wolverine was running on all fours. I just thought that was like, I just thought it was
That was
cool for some reason.
That was very
It's just,
cool.
that was really
it's just awesome looking.
And I just find it awesome that Wolverine finally kicks ass because in every other movie, especially Logan, he gets his ass whooped. We actually finally get to see how like how strong and skilled of a fighter he is because both these guys can basically take as much hits as they can.
Oh yeah,
and they just
especially when they duke it out again.
Oh yeah, that first fight was amazing.
Yeah, that was a really good point because like if you see like how everything was building up, like even like Ryan Reynolds' character, like Deadpool, like even he knew that like okay, something big is about to go down, it's about to unfold, and it just happened. Like that clash was just amazing. Like yeah, so piggybacking off what Joe said, it definitely led to that moment, and I really feel like the actors both knew that like this is like Wolverine's like time to finally shine as like Wolverine, like even more.
Going back to the Johnny Storm thing, I love the fact that as soon as like Human Torch gets utterly humiliated and just wrecked by Pyro, Deadpool and Wolverine are like, we don't know that guy. And what's funny is compared to the Mr. Fantastic cameo, Multiverse of Madness, it feels like Human Torch has a little more screen time than him and actually kind of serves a purpose to the story, like the overall story. Like throughout the movie, like Wolverine and Deadpool are just constantly like bickering, saying like, "Oh, I should probably mention this first." Obviously, Human Torch gets brought to Cassandra Nova. Deadpool says, "Oh yeah, this guy said a bunch of fucking just fucked up shit about you behind your back," and he's like, "No, I didn't." And he gets skinned, and his flesh and bones just collapse onto the ground. And I was like,
that shocked me. I was like, oh my god.
The disrespect to the Fantastic Four. We had Mr. Fantastic get shredded into string cheese by Wanda Maximoff, Multiverse of Madness, and now Human Torch getting skinned to death by Cassandra Nova, and just like, oh, the Fantastic Four just cannot catch a break.
Boys.
But
the thing is going to be crushed by like a fucking like semi truck, and then Invisible Woman's gonna get her head blown off. I guarantee you.
But then like throughout the movie, Deadpool's trying to defend himself, saying, "Oh, no, he said those actual things," and no one buys it, which is hysterical because we find out in the post-credit scene that yes, he did in fact say all those, and it's just so funny that Deadpool waits until the very end. It's like, nope, I got proof. I brought the receipts. He did say these. But it's crazy to think, another thing, it is crazy to think that this is, I want to kind of say it's been confirmed to be the exact same Human Torch from the 2005-2007 movies, which is kind of a shame in and of itself because, yeah, it's that same character, but also he dies a horrific death just for nothing, basically, just because Deadpool couldn't shut his mouth.
I was cracking when that scene first came on, and he was saying like, "Oh, he said all these horrible things about you." I just thought he was lying just to get him killed intentionally.
That's everyone. Just
and I thought that was so funny, like that he would just rat him out just to get him killed.
And then we find out that like Human Torch had a bunch of allies, and they're like, "Oh, what happened to Human Torch?" And Wolverine's like, "This fucker got him killed because he wouldn't shut up." And they just kind of almost gloss over that fact. I mean, yeah, they probably are still like, "Oh, you killed Johnny indirectly," but like, we'll just go ahead with your plan still. But and then of course we get to the whole eventually leads to the nice pool and dog pool scene where they lend old Betsy the what was the car brand? It was
It was Honda.
It was Honda? Yeah, it was a Honda.
Yeah. Honda's not a bad car brand, but like I totally get the joke. I mean, like, yeah, the minivan and like Honda, like
I was Honda Odyssey. That's what it was.
He's a car salesman, so it makes sense. And he talked shit about that in the beginning.
Yeah, it did. I thought it was going to be like a fully ongoing joke throughout the whole movie. It's like, okay, oh, here we go. Oh, dang.
Oh yeah, there's a quote. There's a quote here. I remember it's Deadpool said, "This isn't a car. This is a Honda fucking Odyssey. Throttle response sucks a cock. Dated information system. When Honda saw that untreated chlamydia was making a comeback, they invented the Honda Odyssey to compete." I probably butchered some of those words, but still.
No, that's accurate. I think
that is accurate. That is accurate.
There's another one where I take it all back. The Honda Odyssey fucks hard. It's too bad you don't need a lick. Oh, we're just getting started, bub.
Just getting started, bub.
That's during the fight.
That car fight was also so dope.
Yes, and the way it just starts, just Wolverine just absolutely verbally destroying Deadpool and just like saying all this shit, saying like you couldn't save a relationship with a goddamn stripper, and that my favorite quote now is like, "I wish you would die alone, but it's one of God's best jokes that you can't die, except it's on all of us." And then he says, "What? You're not going to say anything, mouth?" And then Deadpool's like, "I'm going to fight you now." And then they just start beating the shit out of each other.
All right.
I just love how he just comes up with the most random word, like gubernatorial, and then he almost fucking hits him.
Yeah. And then obviously they beat the shit out of each other, and then they wake up and they're just Deadpool's just wrapped in the seatbelt. Wolverine's just passed out, and then he wakes up saying Thor because in the TVA we didn't say this yet. There was a TV screen where Deadpool, or there was apparently an alleged future event where Deadpool was laying on the ground injured, being comforted by Thor, and Mr. Hairdock's like, "Oh, we're not there yet." So I'm pretty sure Ryan Reynolds confirmed that might happen in Secret Wars. So something to think about there.
Maybe. Well, he might be misdirecting us. Who knows?
But
I swear that Thor was just taken from the Thor of the Dark World.
But then a mysterious figure. Then we have a mysterious figure comes, takes the vehicle, brings it to a place. Wolverine's just drinking all the alcohol. Deadpool wakes up saying Thor, and then we get the cameos, the four big money shot cameos.
Mm-hmm.
We have Elektra.
Yes, let's go.
Blade, the original Wesley Snipes Blade, which is funny because this version of Blade appeared on screen first before the MCU Blade did, which is hysterical to think about because the Blade production is currently just in shambles at this point. And then we have Channing Tatum's Gambit finally, which is funny. I did not realize this, but Channing Tatum is the origin of the "My name's Jeff" meme. I did not know that was him. I'm like, oh my god, you're kidding me. And then we have
I found that out. I'm like, oh shit.
Yep, and then we have X-23 Laura from Logan, which is interesting if you think about it, because that's the same Laura from Logan. They've confirmed that. So it's interesting to think that the TVA must have been taking into... So obviously, the Void is just time infinite, basically. It's at the very end of time. So it's interesting to think about that the TVA is just going to random points in timelines and taking these individuals and sending them to the void. Like Logan takes place in 2029. Deadpool 3, like the stuff in Earth 10,005, I think it is,
Yeah.
happens in 2024. But
Mhm.
Laura's already grown up in the void, so it's interesting to think that the TVA is just going to random points in the timeline and just taking these characters then. So,
Mhm.
and it gets even crazier by the end where Laura, this older Laura, is now in Earth 10,005, 5 years before Logan happens. So there's two X-32 or two X-23s
Yeah.
and two Logans in the same universe, which is just like weird to think about.
Mhm.
I'm just wondering, why did they prune her? Like, why did they send her to that?
Yeah.
Well,
I think-
remember
I
the
think-
whole thing? Like Paradox is trying to make a deal with Deadpool, saying like, we can save you. Your universe is dying, obviously, but we can save you and put you in the main timeline. But Deadpool knew that would mean that he would lose everyone, and he refused. So,
Right.
and I
Right.
feel like that happened with everyone, all the other heroes we meet in the Void. That something similar happened. Like we actually do get a little name drop of Human Torch's Mr. Fantastic. Briefly, it was a brief name drop. So he might be in the Void, he might not be, but we just don't know. When they prune someone, are they taking multiple people with them, or are they just that one individual?
Because I was under the impression that
Bro.
they stopped pruning people.
Right, but
After
Mr.
Loki.
Mr. Paradox is a rogue faction. Like they're operating on their own, basically doing their own agenda. Like they don't have like approval from the TVA heads to be doing what they're doing with the Time Ripper.
Right.
Well, I mean, even at the end of the movie, they said prune this Deadpool. Like,
Well, yeah,
variant.
because they didn't realize that. Well, actually, you do make a good point. But then we have Peter come in and say, no, this is the correct Deadpool.
Yeah,
We're
but
jumping
like
forward, so-
I'm just wondering, like, why are they still pruning when they're
Maybe
just not doing that
instinctual, I guess.
anymore?
I don't know.
So I gotta ask, out of the four, who is your favorite cameo, and why is it Blade?
I was gonna say Gambit, but
I
because
was
we
gonna
had, we have, I was
I
gonna
was
say
gonna say
Gambit
Gambit,
because we
too.
haven't seen a live action Gambit like this and like proper getup like this. I don't think ever. So, and the fact that it was
Yeah.
Channing Tatum after all the things he's been waiting for like 10+ years for his own Gambit movie that never came out. So, him having this chance to finally play Gambit and just go to town and steal all the scenes is just awesome.
God,
Second would
he was
definitely
the
be Blade,
funniest
though, in my
character.
opinion, would be second.
Well, in my second, I actually, yeah, I mean, but Blade's definitely like a definitely worthy choice for number two, especially after Channing Tatum's Gambit. But I'm actually surprised. Actually, I'm seeing Elektra though. Like, I think
Yeah,
Elektra
I don't know why
is pretty interesting.
Elektra.
Oh.
I just don't get why she's there. It should have been, like Daredevil or Punisher.
Well,
or
it's
somebody.
fun. It's actually you mentioned that. So they mentioned that they had other members, right? They mentioned that they had Quicksilver,
Yep.
a Daredevil, a Quicksilver, and then they mentioned Magneto, and then Deadpool was like, "Oh, please be the fourth member, be Magneto," and he's like, "He's dead." He's so upset by him being dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what I look at is, how did Punisher die and not Elektra? All she
I
has
don't
are
know,
those little,
but
little
Blade-
daggers, and he has like all these different guns on him.
Blade does
Well-
use what is it? Blade's AT-4 rocket launcher when they're assaulting the compound. He mentions
Mhm.
that it's Punisher's, so.
If he had that on him, how did he die? He could just
He's
rocket
only got
launch
one
it.
blade.
Well,
Yeah.
then again, you saw what happened in Human Torch, so it's probably not too far-fetched. Something similar like that happened.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, he probably got skinned.
So it would be the Punisher from that other universe, not the Marvel Studios Punisher. Like
Yes,
from a
I
live
think-
action show. Okay.
I think they confirmed that the Daredevil is also the same version as from Elektra's, so the Ben Affleck one. And then she made a comment like, obviously saying like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And then she's like, "Oh no, it's fine," because the whole
Yeah,
IRL
the whole
bad blood
divorce
between
thing.
Ben Affleck and her. So
Well, the thing is that I think it's supposed to be all the characters that were forgotten about or just like discarded are the ones that are in there. So I doubt it would be like the ones that we currently have. Because it's supposed to be like the meta thing, like, oh, everyone forgot about these characters, so they were
It's like
sent to the void. They
the
didn't get
Fox
along.
characters that never got a proper end.
Yeah, and they're like they
Yeah,
didn't get along with the rest of the timeline.
that's so true. So I guess it's like kind of paying homage, like even going back to what we were saying before, paying homage to like the old Fox films, and also to like their roles, like the proper roles that they had, at least with that universe and like their legacy with it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I just love that Deadpool's making fun of Gambit's accent. He's like, I know my daddy, but I sure as hell shot off his dick ready.
It's also funny is another thing is like Deadpool's like, all right, try that again, and then Gambit actually does slow down for him, which is a little fun detail.
Who's your dialect coach? The Minions?
Oh yeah,
That
I love
cracked
that
me
line.
the hell
You,
up.
you know
Oh my
what?
god.
The funniest part is that I was with Deadpool because I couldn't understand a word he was saying.
Then there's I forget who was saying this. He was like, oh no, let that man cook. So glad they referenced that.
Oh yeah, to Blade.
Because
He's
that
like,
just goes to show how
oh,
meme
ready.
culture has affected stuff like this. And it's gonna be funny looking back in a movie saying like, oh, that was relevant memes back then.
Yeah, I mean, Let This Man Cook isn't as bad as something like fucking Riz Ohio Skibbity Giat, which I can't believe those cancerous words came out of my mouth just now.
I don't
But
even know what those are, and I'm perhaps saying
So you
FlyGo,
need to clean
so
your mouth. You need to clean your mouth just for that.
exactly. Oh, I'm about to make a name for myself.
Just drink all of the mouthwash. Just guzzle it.
So I feel like we've talked about a lot of the cameos, so I don't think we've really talked about the main villain herself. What are your guys' thoughts on Cassandra Nova?
She's
Uh,
okay.
she's yeah. I feel she's all right. I mean,
I feel like she could have been a better villain.
Mm-hmm.
If I had
But
to rank the Marvel villains, I'd put her on like B tier. She's not terrible, but she's no Thanos or Green Goblin.
right, she's basically just a psycho who just basically wants power. Just she has control over this section of the void. She's basically almost in a sense God in a way. And her motive is basically like, I just want to plunge all of existence into my own domain so I can rule over it. It's essentially her goal.
The thing
Right.
is that I just didn't like yeah, it was creepy the thing that she did with like the fingers in the head, but overall I just didn't think she was all that well of a villain. Really. I don't know, it was just something about her just didn't
I don't
seem
know.
all that intimidating to me.
The Deadpool villains are never that good because like
They
Francis was
never were
okay.
like
Yeah.
Francis.
I can't remember who the villain was in Deadpool. Was it Juggernaut or was it somebody else?
The
It
first
was
one was
two-
Ajax Francis. The second one, I guess, was Juggernaut in a sense.
Yeah.
it was that kid that could shoot
Oh
fire.
yeah, Russell, I think his name was.
It might
Yeah,
have been
Russell.
Russell.
It was
He
Russell.
was worse than Juggernaut.
Yeah,
And
but
then we have
like
Cassandra Nova. And then someone
It's
pointed out,
Russell.
Juggernaut was a joke in part two though. Like that was like all comic relief.
Is
Yeah, I think
Russell a
he was kind
character
of
in
a
the
joke in this
comics?
movie.
I think
They're all characters in comics. Yeah,
Yeah.
Peter
Does he have
was.
like an actual? Is this like what's his name? Like the superhero villain name thing?
I don't.
let me look that up actually.
Firestorm,
Russell.
Firefist.
Oh yeah, I
Firefist.
think that's it. Fire Fist or something like that.
Yeah, because Deadpool made a joke like, does it go to the arm or all the way up to the Does it go to the wrist or all the way up to the elbow or whatever? But yeah, Cassandra Nova was okay. Like every time she was on screen, she was fun. But I'm like, okay, can we get back to the Wolverine Deadpool banter? Because that was fun.
It's just
Um,
I didn't for some reason I just didn't really like buy her as a villain. I mean, I understood what her motives were, and yeah, she was definitely a psychopath. It's just it didn't. I don't know. Something felt off.
If you think
Yeah.
about it, she really didn't have much of a personal connection with Deadpool or
Yeah,
Wolverine.
I
Apart from
think
the
that's the
fact that
problem.
Wolverine and her had one thing in common, that being Professor X, but like it's not really concrete enough for it to be like, a resonance.
Because
Also,
Francis
I'm
in
really
Deadpool one, because Francis in Deadpool one, he like made Deadpool what he is, so he was like a villain that was connected to him, and even like Russell, like he was trying to save him throughout the entire movie, like make him good. But she just, she didn't
She's
really
there.
seem. Yeah, she's there.
She's more of a Wolverine villain than Deadpool, because, like you said, they both kind of have Charles in common, which I'm surprised he didn't show up in this film. You'd expect him to, considering the villain, but whatever.
Well,
I
she
mean,
killed.
we do get during the credits like all the archive footage and behind the scenes bloopers of all the other X-Men films. So you do kind of see him in the film, but it's like a very technical appearance.
Yeah, I guess. Um, I really, yeah, some of the jokes really landed. Like, apparently the meme now, the meme of the day is just Gambit saying, "Ooh, I'm about to make a name for myself."
I've seen a
Yeah, that
meme
was
of
a
that.
funny.
A friend of mine sent of a Kingdom Hearts 2. It's the Battle of 1,000 Heartless, where he says that and it shows like a shot of all the 1,000 Heartless. I'm like, oh, that's a meme for me.
You know, when did they announce that he was going to be playing Gambit? Because like they said that like they were going to make like a Gambit movie or something, and it never happened. Like,
I think it was during the Fox Disney deal. It was definitely after Logan, but I can't remember when they filmed it. But yeah, it just got canceled right in the middle of the Fox deal.
because he made a comment about like, oh, I think I was born here in the void because he just never existed in any other movie. So that was like kind of like at least that version of Gambit didn't exist in any other movie.
Yeah, I'm just happy he was actually Gambit and not that shit fuck from X-Men Origins. And speaking of Sabretooth, what did you guys
Oh
think
yeah.
of that version of Sabretooth rather than the one from Origins? Because apparently, I think he was supposed to show up in that one.
So
Oh,
this version of Sabretooth apparently is the same one from uh
the original X-Men.
I looked it up. They're related some. That Sabretooth is related to the Logan, like 2017 Logan. They're
Hmm.
related somehow. Like I the timeline of the X-Men films is just a mess. So it's not.
Hey,
It's
It,
like
it
it's
is.
hard to
did
pick apart. But
did anyone else's like Discord go like malfunction? Because it just kicked me out for like a second.
No, I
Mm,
didn't get
no.
anything.
nah.
Damn, I need a new computer.
No.
We
I
are
hope it
I
also
doesn't.
cannot be on that. Anyway. Yeah.
we
I
are
hope that
also
doesn't
about like
fuck up the
45
recording.
minutes of this already. So
It
we
might
are
go a
also
little over an hour.
well. We haven't still talked about the ending yet. So I feel like by the time we finish talking about the ending, we'll be there. So on the topic of the ending. So obviously the whole thing with Cassandra Nova, basically Deadpool and Wolverine go back, they round up the resistance, they go to Cassandra Nova's compound, and they steal Juggernaut's helmet to subdue her powers so they can kind of coerce her into letting them out of the void because she has a sling ring that she took from a variant of Doctor Strange that can open sling rings to the various points of the multiverse. And they're just trying to stop Paradox from destroying his universe with the Time Ripper prematurely. And then Cassandra Nova finds this out because of Pyro, who had a deal with Paradox. And then she's like, "Oh, I'll just use the Time Ripper to send everything to the void." So she follows Deadpool and Wolverine into his universe and just sticks the Deadpool core on them. And the Deadpool core, 100 something variants of Deadpool right there. Did any of them stick out to you guys?
You said
I think
variants of
that
Deadpool?
Oh yeah, the Deadpool core.
there was a cowboy Deadpool.
There's Headpool.
Um,
Uh, so funny
there,
fact, the
there was a
Deadpool or the
zombie. Yeah,
yeah,
there was a
Headpool.
zombie head. Yeah.
So Headpool is actually voiced by Nathan Fillion. Cowboy Pool is actually voiced by Matthew McConaughey.
What? Wow.
Yeah,
Yes.
I did hear that,
Nice.
yeah.
And then
And
like the
thank
younger versions of Deadpool we've seen are actually Ryan Reynolds' children.
Yeah, I did
What?
hear that.
Wow.
And thank the Lord Almighty, Lady
Lady
Deadpool
Pool.
is voiced by Blake Lively and not Taylor fucking Swift.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yep.
Mhm.
Hell yeah.
You have no idea how satisfied I was when like I had to message Nightmare like, is Taylor Swift in the film? And he said no. I'm like, thank fuck. I did not want Taylor Swift to be in the
And
film.
and
Holy
then
shit, that's awful.
it's funny that Nice Pool's there, and basically Deadpool just uses as a human shield, just like saying, "Oh no, you're gonna be fine, you're gonna be fine." And then Nice Pool's like, "Oh, I don't have the health regeneration thing." It's like,
Yeah.
"Oh," and then he still drags him into front of the bullets, and his head explodes eventually.
I love how they were trying to play it like a dramatic scene to keep being shot like you're gonna live. And he's like getting hit with all these bullets. I'm gonna live. Say it louder.
You can bet for sure he did that purposefully just so he can get Dogpool.
No, he did just to get the gun, just to get the guns. He got the golden guns.
Oh yeah, and the golden guns too. He did that for the guns too.
He died from murder.
This moment happens, and I gotta say, besides the Human Torch cameo, this is kind of like the No Way Home scene where the 3 Spider-Men are swinging together. That's the one scene I wanted in that movie, and it was fantastic. This is basically every Wolverine's dream 24 years too late. We already got the costume. The only thing missing was the mask. He walks out with Madonna playing in the background. It's the scene from the trailer where Deadpool and Wolverine are walking out. They stop. As soon as Wolverine put up his hands, I'm like, oh my god, it's the mask. He pulls up the mask and it looks fucking gorgeous. Oh my god, it looks amazing.
And then they slaughter their way through the Deadpool core in a one take, I'm pretty sure it is. Which is like where they don't do any cuts in between a take. It's just a one shot or one take of that entire slaughter with all the Deadpools, and they fight through all of them, fight through the bus. You had the little Stan Lee cameo on the little billboard on the side of the bus. They get to the end of the bus, and then all the Deadpools, except Nice Pool for obvious reasons, just gets back up and just shrugs it all off.
Yeah. I'm funny how Nice Pool is the only Deadpool that does not have regeneration.
Yeah, because his face didn't get fucked up. It's just like, right? Oh yeah, and also the proposal. That whole scene. Like, you think that's what I do?
that scene just cracked me up because it was just so random. He's just like the proposal. It's like what?
I mean, and also, fun fact: that mask is not CGI. Most people thought it was. Hugh Jackman actually wore that, so thank God for that.
Definitely. No. Everything came full circle.
That was just so good. And I didn't shout this in the theater, but I really wanted to shout out fucking finally as soon as I saw the mask. Because
it only took 20 years.
24 years without the cowl. It's just like, oh my god.
I think they thought it would look stupid or something, so they never did it. But it looked awesome.
Yeah. It looks amazing, and I don't know why they didn't do that for like so long. It took them till it took them to get rid of Fox in order for Wolverine to finally get this suit. And God, and it's just that scene where he's just kind of charging at them, like he kind of leans over with the claws, just kind of like that signature Wolverine move, and then they both just go over there with Madonna playing in the background. That was the Portal's endgame scene for this movie. I was just like, fuck yes.
Yeah.
And then Blind Al watches from her apartment. She's like, fuck, I wish I were deaf. I'm like, Jesus, this movie's fucking hilarious.
I know Zeppo made a comment. He's like, she's completely blind except when she's looking for cocaine for some reason.
She can sense cocaine. Yeah.
Am I the only one here who thinks that like just like those like non-Disney jokes just land so perfectly, dog? Like they like, dude, like the slapstick and the breaking the fourth wall humor, it was just 100% god tier. Like Ryan Reynolds did a great job. Oh my god!
Oh, I forgot to
people
mention,
say I've heard people say, "Oh, it wasn't as good as the other two movies." I enjoyed it the same. It was fine. I liked it.
Great.
It might have been better than the first two movies.
I'm telling you, it was.
Maybe Deadpool 1's a little better, but I still think like Deadpool and Wolverine has some of like the best moments I've ever seen. It's really fucking good.
Plus, the fact that Marvel was willing to openly admit, yeah, we fucked up these past couple of years with these movies is just chef's kiss right there. The fact that they just willingly acknowledge that, just allow something like that to be said in one of their movies, just goes to show you how much of an influence this movie's going to have.
Yeah, No, they gave Ryan Reynolds full control. It's like, yeah, okay, Deadpool's now in the MCU. We're not going to nerf him or anything. You can go as R-rated as you want. Just go hog wild, make fun of us, make fun of Fox, do as many as you can. Just fucking go. And then they did it. And I forgot the funniest joke in the movie besides the end credits joke is Deadpool just walks up to the camera, breaks the fourth wall, grabs the camera. He's like, "Suck it, Fox. I'm going to
Yep.
Disneyland."
Yeah. All right. So currently, as of right now, Deadpool and Wolverine currently has a $940,337,382 box office total right now.
Wow.
It is almost
Good.
at $1 billion.
Oh, it's about to be Aquaman. It's about to be
It's
Aquaman.
getting
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
It is just about 60 million shy of $1 billion.
I don't get. Yeah, I mean, it's a grand feat that Aquaman is like sitting at $1 billion, like in general.
Yeah.
But like, yeah,
If
definitely.
all goes well, this will be the first $1 billion project, like Marvel movie, since Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hope it does cross
Isn't-
that billion.
Yeah, well, it's going to reach $1 billion because it's still in theaters. But isn't this the highest grossing R-rated movie of all
Yes.
time?
Yes, it is.
Oh, it beat
Yeah.
Sausage Party.
That's what. that's what happens when you bring in like a proper Deadpool and a proper Wolverine, not the clusterfuck called X-Men Origins, which Jake and I had to sit through thinking this could be important to Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
It
made
is
Yeah.
also
I made Joe watch all the X-Men movies with me, minus Dark Phoenix, because fuck that movie. But
and New Mutants.
Fuck the New Mutants. The New Mutants is
Oh, yeah.
the worst.
I didn't watch either of those because I heard how
Oh
bad
my
they were.
god! Oh, you're doing yourself a great favor, buddy. Yeah. Stay away from that one. Oh my god!
The last one I watched was like Apocalypse because I already saw Logan at that point and stuff. So I think it was like, yeah, it was like completely out of order.
I should also mention Deadpool and Wolverine is the 27th overall highest grossing film.
Oh, let's go! Holy
Wow,
shit!
27th. Wow.
27th.
Oh snap! Did it pass? Did it already pass Super Mario Brothers movie?
Not yet. I think Mario got $1 billion.
It
Oh,
did
okay.
get $1 billion.
Okay. Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
like that's kind of like a big record breaker for like animated movies like that. They usually don't get like $1 billion.
Inside Out 2 beat Mario, but I don't think Mario's that far behind. But yeah, I'm just happy that he finally, and it's not like that one scene through the massacre that he just wore that mask. He wore it through the rest of the whole movie.
Somehow, when his suit ripped, it was still on his head. The mask. I don't know how that worked.
They did that just to make the girl soaking wet. Let's be real.
Oh, hold on, I should probably clarify. The 27th, that is domestically speaking in terms of America.
Okay.
I'm trying to look at the box office records.
So it probably be Dark Knight.
I think it did, yeah.
Yeah, Dark Knight was a great film. Yeah, that was a great film too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's fantastic.
Deadpool and Wolverine overall worldwide is 67th highest grossing.
Wow.
Oh,
It is currently in between Finding Nemo and Minions: The Rise of Gru.
How the fuck does that happen?
I don't know.
How did Minions get that high? It beat the fucking Two Towers. How the fuck?
Lord of the Rings?
It beat the Two Towers?
It beat Lord of what?
Yes, it beat the Two Towers.
Overall, though, the top 5 highest grossing films from first to fifth is Avatar, Avengers Endgame, Avatar: The Way of Water, Titanic, and Star Wars Episode 7: The Force Awakens.
Yeah, and then Infinity War, No Way Home are not that far behind.
Yes, they're directly behind that, actually.
Oh shit. Well, yeah. Oh, Top Gun's on there. Let's fucking go.
Yep, Top Gun Maverick's number 13.
Top Gun Maverick? Oh, man. Woo! I watched that movie 3 times.
Yes. I think that's like the first movie in recent memory I actually went to see with my full family. Like, I cannot remember the last time I ever did something like that. It was a joy to watch.
It was really great.
Yeah.
And Mario's on the top 20, which is great.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the best movie sequel like in this generation ever.
Where's
Gun?
Oppenheimer? Hold on.
No, it was definitely Top Gun. It was definitely Top Gun, but I think Deadpool and Wolverine got them beat in my opinion. Like the best movie sequel, New Generation.
I find it quite
Yeah.
interesting
Yeah.
that Barbie had a better box office than Oppenheimer.
That's not surprising.
That's not surprising at all.
Barbie's like a
That's-
trademark. So,
yeah,
and
let's be
if
real.
you add
Let's
Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie, it's guaranteed.
Like Barbie had 1.4 billion, whereas Oppenheimer had 975 million.
It's like fuck history. Let's watch Barbie.
Which is interesting because Deadpool and Wolverine is closing in on that gap too. So eventually, it's going to overtake Oppenheimer.
Deadpool and Wolverine's for sure getting $1 billion. Like, there's no way it's not by the end of its
What do you
run.
What do you think it's going to end at though? Like, what do you think its
1.3.
final box office is going to be? 1.3.
I think
You think?
1.3. 1.3.
Yeah. I think it might be in between Frozen 2 and Barbie. That's my guess.
I think so. 1.4, like 1.45 roughly.
Yeah, 1.4 for like 8 or something.
We'll have to see then.
Yeah, and it's crazy that No Way Home almost got 2 billion and it was during COVID. That
Yeah.
was fucking crazy to see.
Yeah, No Way Home, dude. Spider-Man for the win. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like as we close in on things, what do you think the future of the MCU is going to be now that we have a movie like this?
Shit.
Dude, I really feel like just exactly what Deadpool said. Like he really was Marvel Jesus. I mean, like this and X-Men '97 is what's really saving Disney's bacon right now.
Again,
I mean, like, dude, for real. Like,
we have the next project, the next main movie after this is Captain America: Brave New World, which looks interesting, but I don't know if it's enough. Like, I don't know. I feel like something about it is just off. Like, I have that feeling.
It's the Incredible Hulk 2 disguised as Captain America 4. That's basically what it is.
All the Hulk enemies and all the Hulk characters are for Captain America.
And then the next movie after that is Thunderbolts. Is like, who wanted this?
I'm not seeing
like,
that.
I really have no interest in it. Like, there's got to be something to make it worthwhile. But just as it stands right now, the overall like synopsis of just these characters are coming together to make an unlikely team, but it's like, why are they coming together? Why?
Nobody gives a shit about them.
I don't know. I don't know nothing about. I mean, like I always like watching Marvel movies for one of these reasons because one, I like to go explore like a different part of the comic universe that I never got to experience like while reading comics. So and I really hope that they actually land the source material like properly and do a great justice for me to be entertained and be like, this is what this group is. Like, there's a lot of Marvel team groups like that's been made throughout history, like a whole lot. So, for me checking out Thunderbolts, I mean, I'm probably gonna go into like as if like how it went in with the Eternals. I just want to go know what that group's really all about. Even with the Inhumans, but with that long ago Marvel house with I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Inhumans wasn't a movie, but it was one of those Netflix shows that was part of the MCU, but not really. Even though it really is like kind of like with Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and Iron Fist and all that stuff. So I'm thinking that I'm probably gonna walk into Thunderbolts as if I'm watching the Eternals. Like I'm drawing a blank. I do not know anything about the Thunderbolts and why are they popular. Do not ask me. But that's just my take on that. I just hope that they do good. But yeah.
Just so you know, the Thunderbolt is a completely different team in the comics. Like, I think it consists of Red Hulk, obviously, because Thunderbolt fucking Ross. Abomination, Ghost Rider, I think the Punisher's part of it. Zemo.
Yeah.
Wait.
Also, I should also mention, I heard rumor that even though it's the Thunderbolts, Red Hulk's not going to be in it. It's like, what?
That's not surprising. They added all these Hulk characters in Captain America: Brave New World, but the Hulk is not in it.
Yeah.
So
and also, I should mention that character, the why am I blanking on his name? Giancarlo, I think his name. which I'm
Oh,
probably butchering it.
Giancarlo Esposito?
Yeah. His character was actually added in reshoots, and yet he looks like he has such a prominent thing in the actual trailers. It's like, if he's a reshoot character, then like it just feels like, I don't know, it's weird.
It's very weird.
But then,
Back onto Deadpool, I feel like we kind of overshadowed this scene. Well, two scenes in particular, but the scene where they're holding hands, listening to Madonna, that scene was really fucking cool. I don't know about you guys.
Oh, heck yeah. Hell yeah, dude. Oh, man, that fight scene was amazing.
I laughed when this shirt ripped off. I'm like, yeah, the girls are gonna get soaking wet after this. And then before we go to our overall thoughts and where we rank it and all that, I just like to say the end credit scene is This is the end credit scene that we've since Far From Home. Like, this was the best end credit scene since then. It was not anything like in particular like important for the MCU. It was just a funny payoff for a joke. And I have the full quote pulled up, so prepare yourself.
there we go.
That whole shit with Johnny saying all that stuff, and, he's just denying it. It turns out it's actually true, like we said. And he says, and I quote, "In the void, you're either food for Eliath or you work for her. And I'll tell you who her is. Sandra Nova, a megalomaniacal psychotic asshole, a finger-licking dead-inside pixie slab of third-rate dime store nut milk. And I'll tell you what she can do. She can lick my goddamn cinnamon ring clean and kick rocks all the way to bald hell. In fact, I don't give a shit if she removes all my skin and pops me in some nightmarish blood balloon. If the last thing I do in this godforsaken cum-gutter existence is light that fuckbox on fire, I still won't die happy. I won't be happy until I've urinated on her freshly barbecued corpse and husk-fucked the charred remains while gargling Juggernaut's juggernuts. And you can quote me."
And he does.
He does. Gotcha,
and then he ends it. Yep. And he ends saying, "Gotcha, fuckface." And then that's the movie. That's the movie.
Okay.
There.
Part of me has a suspicion that Deadpool altered that footage because
there's rumors saying like he could have.
Because the way he looked up at the camera, be like, "Oh, keep going, yeah, keep saying it," and the way he described the exact way he was going to die, and that Juggernaut was there. I'm like, he wouldn't know all that.
In context, if you go back to the scene where Human Torch is killed. Like, Deadpool starts talking, and then Wolverine's like saying, "Hey, you should probably stop talking," implying that Wolverine did in fact can confirm that Johnny did say that stuff as well.
Yeah, because I originally thought that Wolverine said something like, "No, he didn't say that," but then I rewatched it and I'm like, "Oh shit, he actually said shut the fuck up." So it's like he did say it.
You idiot! You got Johnny killed.
I can't believe I read that whole thing without stuttering.
I also had the quote pulled up just in case. So
I hope the microphone caught that because I cannot repeat that.
But
that was glorious.
Yeah, definitely was.
What are our overall thoughts as we start to wrap things up here?
Yeah, I really want to give this a perfect score, but only because of the fact that the main villainess was just pretty bland. Wasn't really as extraordinary as I thought it would be. And honestly, they could have been easy some points where she, with all the power that she has, especially she's a cousin to Professor X, could have easily ended the whole entire dispute against the heroes and the villains.
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah. Another thing to note is that she doesn't directly interact with Deadpool or Wolverine in the final battle at all. Like she's like almost like she doesn't know they're there.
Mm-hmm.
So another thing to think about.
Yeah,
that is true. And I gotta say, it doesn't get a 10 out of 10. I think that's a little too generous. Like for me, No Way Home and Endgame absolutely get a 10 out of 10. The only reason why this didn't. This isn't up in the likes of Infinity War, Endgame, and Spider-Man. Like Jay said, it's just the villain. That's all.
Yeah, she's not that good.
And given what I love, and there have also been talks saying Mr. Paradox was also just kind of a little as well, but I didn't mind him too much as opposed to the actual main threat that's presented to us. He was there kind of doing his own thing that eventually bled into the main villain's goal. But if I had to rank this movie, I would give it a solid 8.5 out of 10.
I'd give it a 9.5.
I would give it. I would honestly just give it like a 9. A 9
Oh
going
yeah,
to
yeah.
9.5. I would give it a
Yeah,
9
I,
going to 9.5. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say
But yeah.
solid 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Thank
say
you.
it's not lower than the 7 for sure. It's not lower than that by
No,
any
heck
chance.
no.
No.
Heck
I wouldn't
no.
even give
No.
it a
No.
7. The 7s would belong to something like Iron Man 2 or something, which isn't great but not terrible. For Deadpool
Yeah.
and Wolverine absolutely gets a 9.5.
Yeah.
Like it's in between Guardians 1 and Guardians 3 for me.
Yeah. And that's so surprising. Isn't that so surprising to say? Like, dude, it's as good as Guardians 3, like the final send off. Like, what? And
Yeah.
they were just joking throughout the whole film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Deadpool
I-
and Wolverine is a
But
jokey film, but it has more heart than Love and Thunder.
right.
So
But I also
which-
feel
Yes.
like some of the
Yes.
pacing in the middle when they're just kind of aimlessly wandering, it felt just a little slow. That's why I'm not saying it's a full 9. I feel like they could have done a little more with that downtime, but still, very fun movie. I had a lot of fun with it.
also Wolverine said go fuck yourself. I think that's very important to say.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, I
Yeah.
think I think if I remember correctly, I think they said the word "fuck" a total of 113 times or something like that.
Wow.
118, yeah. That's more than the first
118.
two combined.
Yeah. So
And it's a it's a fucking Disney movie, so they
Yeah.
went just up and beyond with this. Like, goddamn.
Mhm.
and it's going to be one of the most profitable movies in recent years. So
Yeah, well, Disney gotta take note. I mean, like they can't be giving us mouses and princesses all the damn
Yes.
time. So,
but I briefly touched upon this, but like in terms of future MCU projects, the one film I am most excited for, and I briefly touched upon this when I was talking about Johnny, I'm deeply excited for the Fantastic Four movie coming out next year. Like I have
Hopefully-
high hopes for that movie. I
Hopefully
want it to
it
be so
does-
good.
Hopefully it does better than the last one.
oh man, the
there's
last one wasn't
no-
even a
given-
freaking movie.
Yeah, here's the thing: the person directing, I don't know if you did any research into this. The person who's directing this Fantastic Four movie is the director of WandaVision, and if you remember how they handled the whole time and like era in WandaVision, I feel like they're gonna very much nail the aesthetic with the Fantastic Four in this movie.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
the 1960s, right? Yeah.
Yes,
also
it's
did Rock
it's
Boner,
set in
so-
an alternate 1960s universe, so you have the
So-
retro futurism.
Well, I the thing I just want to go say. I just want to say one thing about that. I really wish we can explore the Reed Richards timeline, or at least his version, his team of the Fantastic Four. Yeah, that was presented in Doctor Strange, because that Fantastic Four that was a perfect Mr. Fantastic.
Yes,
The
John
one
Krasinski,
that died. Yeah, the
Yes.
one that died from Wanda.
Oh,
Mhm.
Krasinski? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
I
I
think
get-
in
yeah.
total he had like a minute and a half of screen time, and I think Human Torch in this movie, in Deadpool, has more than that. I'm pretty sure.
I think he had like 3 or 4 minutes.
Mm. And of course, he's constantly referenced throughout the entire movie. Basically, he's like a budding joke with Deadpool and Wolverine saying, "You got him killed." Like, no, I didn't get him killed. So
Why was Thor crying?
I would love to see that. I mean, like, I would have been like super hyped, just like seeing like that Reed Richards and his Fantastic Four team. I
Right.
definitely would have want to see the movie with that. But I get it. I mean, like, he's dead, unfortunately.
which is and it's a little. I
So-
mean, all respect to Pedro Pascal. He's a fantastic actor. I feel like they could have kept Krasinski on for another project. Like, I feel like they didn't have to replace him so quickly like that.
Yeah. Sorry, I got a message.
Yeah, same here.
But yeah, I just I get your point on all that. And also another thing to ask, I did a poll recently on Instagram asking my friends which movie they like better, Spider-Man No Way Home and Deadpool and Wolverine. Before I say the results, I want to know what you guys think. Like, which movie's better between the two?
Well, Deadpool and Wolverine was very much a passion project. Like, it was designed to be like these two actors, like Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, just want to go out on their own movie and just basically go to town with what they want. And Spider-Man No Way Home is like, and again, they're both very similar in the sense where they're basically like, how do I describe it? Like conclusions to prior characters from other properties. Like Spider-Man No Way Home very much honors those early Sony Spider-Man films and their villains and characters, whereas Deadpool and Wolverine honors the Fox legacy from the early 2000s, maybe even late 90s, all the way to now. So they both are very similar in what they're trying to accomplish, but in terms of what does it better, I don't know. I feel like in terms, obviously, Spider-Man No Way Home has the advantage of having a lot of villains that all work, whereas Deadpool and Wolverine has Cassandra Nova, who, yeah, she's fine, but she's not on the wow factor as all the villains from No Way Home, like Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Electro, and whatnot. So I would say personally, just slightly, I prefer No Way Home.
All right. And Jacob, what about you?
Like, dude, like, it's such a, it's so hard, man. Dude, like, those are both fantastic films, man. Like, honestly, but I would say, for like a dark comedy, the slapstick, and like just for having like a great, I really feel like both movies, they just deliver on their own paths. It all depends on the viewer. I think it is. If someone wants to go for dark humor, slapstick, raunchy comedy, like you would obviously choose Deadpool Wolverine. If you want like action packed adventure with with a lot of dramatics like unfolding and a very deep storyline, going for, if you're in that mood for that, then you go for No Way Home. Like I just really feel like they do justice on each of the genres that they are hitting home with, and I just gotta say, like I think it's kind of like 50-50 with that. Like it's very hard to decide. Like
I don't
if
blame you.
that's an answer, if that's a real answer. Like I just really feel like it just depends on what the mood is for each individual, and like and what they want to go watch at that very given time. I mean, like you really can't miss both. But like, to answer your question, if you want to go for like an actual full Marvel experience now, where you get some laughs, but you also get drama, you also get like a great action packed adventure, and a hero going up against a stronger villain than what we see in Deadpool 3, then I'm gonna have to give the hat to No Way Home. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
yeah,
blame you.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Jake,
For
what about you?
me, I'm a little bit torn on which one I prefer because No Way Home is really, really good. And this one, like you guys said, is kind of a passion project, like you guys said. But I don't know, it might be a bias because I love Spider-Man, but I do like No Way Home better. I kind of flip-flop my views. Sometimes when I think about Deadpool, I'm like, oh, this is really good. I like this better. And then I think about No Way Home, I'm like, actually, this might be better. So I'm a little bit torn, but at the moment, I would say No Way Home.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
probably tomorrow or within the next hour or two, I would say Deadpool. I don't know.
Like
they're
they
both.
both have
Yeah,
their
Yeah.
pros and cons over one another, but relatively speaking or subjectively speaking, which is the superior movie, ultimately depends on how you view each movie.
Because it's
Like, how are you
they're
comparing
two
them in
different
what
movies.
sense?
They're two
Mhm.
different movies, really. You can't really like compare them under the same criteria, really.
I mean,
True.
the reason why
True.
I compare them is because they have cameos galore, and they have like legacy characters coming back. Like Deadpool is Hugh Jackman, and No Way Home has every fucking character, like no,
But it
Toby
also
and Willem
that
Dafoe.
also leads into subjectiveness. Are you an X-Men fan or are you like a Sam Raimi, like the Amazing Spider-Man duology fan? Like, which is your cup of tea, essentially?
Yeah.
That's another preference you got to think about.
Then for that reason, it's No Way Home for sure. I love Deadpool. Like I said, it's top three, maybe top five. No, not top three, top 10, top five in the MCU. Like I said, it's between the two Guardians for me, 1 and 3. But I think No Way Home is just especially with like the ending and the villains are better. I just love how they handled No Way Home better than Deadpool. And over time, I like Deadpool and Wolverine a little more, but I don't really think it holds the candle to Endgame and No Way Home. I think those are like the two best ones. Uh, I just love how they handle both movies, and uh, yeah, I don't know, but the poll says otherwise because 13 people voted. This was really, really close, but it's 42%, 43% No Way Home, 57% Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool won by 2 votes.
Well,
Another thing to also consider is
there
there's
is
also potential
recency bias.
yeah, recency bias is also a potential factor to take into account. So like maybe once more time is settled with Deadpool and Wolverine, like maybe like a couple of years, give it time, and then compare it, I feel like would be a better thing. But like comparing it right after, like during its release, makes it a little more biased to the more recent movie in a sense.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
I agree. I agree.
But yeah,
Because
great movie. If you have
it's
not seen it,
yeah.
go ahead, finish your thought.
It's like you trying. It's like you be in the mood for like two great franchises, two great game franchises. Are you in the mood for Legend of Zelda, like a complete action adventure experience, or do you like cameos galore and a good fun time seeing your favorite characters of all time and you playing Smash Brothers? So
That is true.
yeah, what are you in the mood for? Are you in the mood for Smash Brothers, or are you in the mood for on brand new Legend of Zelda game? Like, it's kind of like almost the same thing, like in that sense. Even though we're talking about movies now instead of games, but yeah,
No, I get your point.
yeah,
But yeah, if you have not seen the movie yet, why the fuck are you watching this video? Go see it. we just spoiled the whole movie basically, but yeah. Yeah, I loved it. I'm happy everybody else here does. I guess that's basically about it. You can find me here. Jake will be here as well. Where can we find Zarko and Jake Gooden? I don't know. Where can
No.
we?
Usually I'm mostly active on Azalea 22's channel, one of her moderators and someone who partakes in Among Us. I'm very I have quite the reputation with Among Us.
Yeah.
nice.
Quite. And if everyone here who hasn't seen those Among Us videos, yeah, you should probably go see those.
Yeah, those are fun.
Oh,
But
yeah.
other than Azalea, I've been kind of getting into a little bit of streaming lately, not like crazy. Like I just kind of, if I'm in the mood, I just start a stream of what I'm currently doing. So I'm doing that a little more often, but not frequent enough to really warrant saying like, oh, hey, come check this out. But if you want to come check that out, please be my guest.
All right.
Okay.
And Jay Gooden, what about you?
Yeah, you can catch me at the JG Media Games Discord. It's open for everyone. It's non-family friendly. I'm just gonna let you guys know that. But yeah, feel free to to come on in, like and like have a great time. Creativity starts with you when imagination at a time. There's some gaming content over there. There's some artistry content. Mostly the latter, but yeah, you can feel free to just like speak your mind on everything gaming, everything entertainment. Yeah, just go ham. Just don't like diss nobody to like the point where they want to feel some type of way. Please don't do that. But other than that, yeah, you can find me over there at JG Media Games Discord or jgmediadesigns.com. If you want your creativity fix, your boy got you. And obviously, I'm also hanging out with Joe C and the Thunder Pals. So like I mod there, and yeah, you can always have your fun and festivities over there as well. So yeah,
Appreciate you.
yeah.
I guess with that, maximum effort. I'll see you guys in the next one.
See ya.
Let's go. All right.